is part 3 in our series on playing over changes, and in the last segment we looked at the idea of going from a C to an E7th, and we facilitated that just by using a chord sequence which we dropped into, or over the top of, if you will, the scale we were using before. So here's our C major pentatonic. If I was to sort of summarise that as that fingering, if you like, and then our E7 was sat in the middle. This gives us the opportunity to articulate chord changes that are happening underneath what we're playing. If I'm playing here, and I know that that's the root of my E7, I'll play it very different than if I thought it was thinking it was someone still playing C. So, okay, that is the principle which we looked at in the last segment. So what I want to do is just expand on the idea of that E7. It's quite a short video, this one really, but it's, as I've said before, it's so important to do stuff in stages. So here's E7. Now, our pentatonic runs through from, in this particular fingering, from the 3rd fret to the 10th fret. So I'm now wondering to myself, well, is there anything else that might connect nicely to E7 in that area? And really good news here is we've got this chord. Now this is what I'd call an A shape. It's based on A chord. It has its root on the A string. That's pretty much all you need to know, isn't it? That's why it's an A shape. And, okay, now I did a video a while back which is titled "There Are Only 3 Chord Shapes, ... And it might be worth having a little look at that if you're starting to get into some of these concepts. But anyway, I digress. So we have an E7th here. Now this gives us some dropping off points which are quite convenient from the C. And I'm thinking we've got that sort of idea as well. What's also interesting about this is that the C shape E7th and the A shape E7th are very close together. This is massively useful to us. We can even, dare I say it, take the odd liberty here. If we know this works because it's from this chord shape, and we know this works because it's in this shape, then put that on the end of a line in C. As you can hear, there's quite a distinct change there. So this is the really key thing about this, is you have to know in your mind when the chord change happens. Otherwise, you're not going to play something which is relevant to it. I'm going to give you another little example here. And again, this is, although it's a lead line, one of the things, if you're playing in C, you wouldn't think about doing is this. But it's very different if an E7th chord is on its way. Okay, you can hear it's slightly Hotel California-esque, that sort of sound, isn't it? Okay, we've also got the opportunity of making references to the 7th as well. Now, one of the things people get themselves very caught up with, as soon as you start doing anything vaguely technical, they think they're not allowed to bend strings, not allowed to hammer, not allowed to snap, not allowed to play it like a proper solo. Well, that's daft. Bring in all that stuff. That gives us a nice E7. That's all E7. E7 again. So it's one of the more ugly sounding E7s you can play, but it's really useful. I say ugly, it has its uses in certain songs, but again, there's another dropping off point there. So that's another thing to think about. So if you start looking at these E7th chords, variations on them, there's a lot you can play there which links very nicely to the C. That's it for this particular video. I'll be back in part 4 where we're going to be looking at where else you might go from that particular situation. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. That's all for this one, and please hit the subscribe button if you could. Bye for now.